In this video, I'm going to show you the step-by-step blueprint we use to get my client Jacob shredded in 90 days and how you can use it too. So let's dive into it. We're going to talk about Jacob, my own transformation, some other clients that I've worked with, go through a bunch of stuff, go through the exact training of how to do this and how to implement this into your life. It's going to be a beefy video, so let's dive into it. So first off, Jacob's transformation, he went from 195 pounds to 180 in 3 months. He is a consultant working 60 plus hours a week, travels every other week. So he's got a packed schedule. A lot of people in his position would think, I can't do this, but look at the results that he got. So we're going to talk through exactly what we did with him, what we implemented here to get him these results. Also just, you guys probably already know enough about me, but just real quick, this is where I started in high school. This is where I got to. I bulked up. I made a lot of mistakes over, 8, even 9 years now of training, especially the first 4 years. I think I really could have maximized those, but I didn't. Delayed my progress a lot. Learned a lot. Worked with one of my friends who's a pro bodybuilder. Shout out to Wang Su, who helped me get to the best shape of my life. I've worked with multiple coaches since then, learning a ton, and have developed a system that really takes all the guesswork out, makes it so that, timing wise, you can just get the right results as efficiently as possible. Tarun as well is another of my clients. In just 6 weeks, he dropped 20 pounds. It's absolutely insane. This stuff works. He's also a consultant, works 50 plus hours a week. High stress environment, he was still able to drop 20 pounds in 6 weeks. Mind you, these guys are only in the gym for 3 45-minute sessions a week. That's it. So, we're gonna go over all that stuff, all the misconceptions. Before we dive into that though, who is this video for? Really, it's for people who work a lot, who maybe travel a lot too, and are hardworking, but don't have a ton of time. They don't want to spend hours in the gym, but they're willing to put in the work. That's really who this is for. Maybe you're even lacking energy and focus, want to lose body fat and get in shape. Essentially people who need a plan to follow, and with that plan, they will execute. They will actually put in the effort and do the things that are required as long as it doesn't take up too much of their time. So again, hardworking individuals want to follow a proven system and do it predictably and consistently. Who this video is not for is people looking for a quick, easy fix, a band-aid solution, a lose weight quick scheme, like a weight loss pill. That's not what this video is for. This is about creating results that will last for a lifetime and give you health for the rest of your life. If you're here for a quick band-aid solution, this isn't for you. Go watch someone else's video, but honestly, there's no such thing as, a lose weight quick scheme. If you want to keep it off for good and improve your health long-term, you need to lose weight gradually, and you need to do it along with some sort of strength training. So anyways, let's dive into the rest of this. So first off, if you've had trouble losing weight in the past and it's not your fault because you've been lied to and misled to believe that losing fat and building muscle is this crazy complex thing, which in fact it isn't. You've also probably been led to believe that you won't be able to stick to it. We hear a lot of marketing messages of, did you start your New Year's resolutions? Did you stick to this? Did you stick to that? Knowing that we didn't. And so there's a lot of groups that benefit from you having these beliefs. If you think about fad diets, right? All of the marketing around keto, Whole30, literally don't even get me started about keto because I hate it so much. We'll dive into that a bit later in the video, but essentially the problem with these fad diets is that they're so extreme that you won't be able to stick to them long term. And so I know multiple people personally. I've even had people that I work with who have tried to do keto, Whole30. I'm going to be talking about one guy in particular later in this video. His name is Josh. But I also have numerous friends who are like, oh yeah, keto works for me. It's great. I was just talking to someone who was like, yeah, I did keto and I lost 50 pounds. But guess what? They were talking to me because they had gained the weight back. And the problem with these fad diets is they're so extreme that people end up going back to like the way they used to live because you can't maintain that forever. And then eventually they gain the weight back and they just go back to where they were. And they're in this vicious cycle of like, let me just restrict myself, cut everything out, and then let me go back. And then I end up going back up. And yeah, so I hate fad diets. I think they're so stupid. All the marketing for them is messed up and BS. And I mean, okay, the reality, the one thing I will say that is true is that they do get you to be in a caloric deficit, which you do need to lose fat, and we'll dive into that later in this video, but they're so restrictive and so extreme that I think they're a horrible idea. Okay, fat loss products also benefit from, you having these beliefs, waist belts, fat burners, all that garbage. Big pharma, benefits from it. They're coming out with, a big new weight loss pill that they say is gonna be like $1 billion thing, which is, awful. I think like you can literally just do this stuff naturally in a healthy way. Like you don't need all of these medicines. Big pharma also benefits from people who are obese and then start having to take like, diabetes medication, like hypertension medication, blood pressure, all that stuff, all benefits. Like all those drug companies benefit from us being overweight. Liposuction is a huge one, like, right? Just, pay thousands of dollars and get all the fat removed, and then just gain it back again because you haven't fixed, your habits. I get so pissed off talking about this stuff. Even the healthcare industry benefits from this. And I don't mean like, in my experience, all the doctors and people that I know and have worked with and like nurses and stuff in the healthcare industry are awesome people. But the industry as a whole does benefit from us being overweight and not healthy because the more times we have to go in to see someone, the more they get paid. The more crazy, surgeries and different things they have to do on us, the more money they make. So that's an industry that benefits from this as well. So with that being said, let's actually dive into the training of how to get in amazing shape quickly without sacrificing your foods and without spending hours in the gym. We're going to go through all of that stuff. Now, mind you, like I said before, this is for people who want to work hard, but they also want to work smart, right? We want to be putting effort in, but we want to put it in the right ways. So that's what I'm going to show you how to do right now. There are two parts to this training. First off, we're going to go over Metabolic Mastery. That's the method that I've developed based on working with over 20 clients now that I've seen work time and time again. And essentially this is to get your nutrition on lock because that's going to drive a huge amount of your results. Then we'll go over the Greek God physique blueprint, how to, get the body of your dreams and look like a Greek god. If that's your goal, hopefully that is if you're watching this video. So yeah, okay. So with Metabolic Mastery, the results we're gonna look for is losing fat, gaining muscle, increased energy, improved focus, improved self-confidence too by like, losing that extra body weight, feeling more in control of your body. And then, more muscle equals more calories burned too. Like I want you guys to think of it like compound interest, where when you invest more and more money in the stock market, it kind of like snowballs and continues to grow over time. The same thing happens with muscle and like calorie burning. So the more muscle you build up, the more calories you're going to start to burn because it takes more calories to maintain a pound of muscle as compared to the amount of calories it takes to maintain a pound of fat. So the more muscle you put on, actually the more food you can eat, and the more fat you'll burn just sitting there, literally by doing nothing. Just to give you guys an example of what this looks like, I currently burn about 27 to 2,800 calories per day, just to like exist, just for my body to exist. It burns that many calories now because of the muscle mass I've built. So yeah, that's kind of just a, cool fact I wanted to share with you guys to get you thinking of like, okay, the more muscle I'm building here, the more fat I'm actually going to be burning as well. Okay, let's dive into the Metabolic Mastery method itself. So as you can see, it's a funnel. It starts out wide, it tightens up a bit, then goes out wide again. So phase one is where we start with adding rather than subtracting. Like I said earlier, the reason I hate keto, Whole30, all of these hyper restrictive diets is that they are not sustainable. And they usually start with removing, like, oh, you can't eat carbs, you can't eat sugar, you can't eat this, you can't eat that. Instead, I want you to focus on adding more. Add more of the right things, proteins, vegetables, whole grains, whole foods, right? Add more of the right things that you enjoy, and then you'll be less tempted by other less helpful options. So add. Don't focus on, oh, I can't eat this, I'm on a diet, I'm not allowed to eat this, I'm not allowed to eat that. Like, don't rely on your willpower, because that's only going to take you so far, and eventually you're going to succumb to the temptation, and you're also going to have this like feeling of loss of like, but I'm not allowed to eat that thing. We don't start with like thinking like that, because it's not helpful. So instead, start with, what do I need to add to my diet? Add a bunch of those things. Try out a bunch of different options, find the things that you love, and add those in. Phase two is all about design. So this is where we want to embrace change, personalize your diet plan by knowing exactly what to look for, and making things sustainable and enjoyable. So phase two is the phase, like, now that you've tried out a bunch of different options, you have like a bunch of healthy snacks, meals on hand that you can eat. This is where we want to lock things in, and then also build in space for you to enjoy foods that you love, that maybe you might think quote unquote are unhealthy. So, like, for example, I'll tell you my two favorite foods are burgers and tacos, and pizza. Actually, those are my top three, and none of those things are quote unquote healthy. They're very calorically dense. Which means, obviously I can't eat them for breakfast, lunch, and dinner every single day to achieve my goal of fat loss. So what I do is I build those into my meal plan for the week, so that I can have those cheat meals built in. Realistically, like, if you want to lose fat and you still want to eat your favorite foods, you can eat them probably 2 to 3 times a week, and be okay. It all depends on how you structure your calories the rest of the day. Because again, if we want to be losing weight, we have to be in a caloric deficit, which means you're eating less calories than your body burns. All right, phase 3. This is where we optimize. We take things to the next level. So strength and energy levels are what we're looking at specifically, by focusing on carb timing. I've made some videos about this, but the short version is essentially you want to time your carbs properly throughout the day, to avoid those peaks and then crashes, and have a more consistent baseline energy. And then also structure your meals so that you have the energy boost you need right before a workout, so that you can also optimize your strength levels in the gym. All of this in phase 3 is going to maximize muscle gain, and maximize energy. Okay? Once we've gone through that, so phases 1 through 3 are going to give you all of the nutrition backbone that you need to be successful. Phase 4 is now about lifestyle. So in phases 1 through 3, I want you to be tracking what you eat. What this is going to do is it's going to give you a really deep understanding of the macro breakdown of all the different foods you're eating. What are macros? Proteins, fats, and carbs. So you need to know how much protein, how many grams of fat, how many grams of carbs are in each meal that you're eating, and have them in the right proportions, which is about like 30 to 40% of each one. You want about an even split. So then once we get to lifestyle, you've already done all the work in tracking, trying out all the different things, designing your life to fit, the nutritional needs that you want while also enjoying the foods you eat. Once you've done all of that, now you want to make it a lifestyle. So this is where we're talking about intuitive eating, right? Where you can look at a plate and you can just already tell what type of nutrients it's going to have, and then kind of go from there. So to illustrate this, I want to talk about my client Gotham, who went through the Metabolic Mastery method, dropped 10 pounds in just 2 months. I showed his back right here because you can really see the definition, just sort of, losing that fat on the sides, really getting more shredded on the top, because once you get to a lower body fat percentage, you can see your muscle definition better. And then here's some of the things that he had to say about locking in his nutrition. Feels really good, feels way more in control of his body. We did a carb cycle with him, which he absolutely loved. It makes it easy to plan your days. And then you also get basically a cheat day twice a week, which is pretty awesome. Get to eat a ton of food twice a week. So, that goes back to the sustainability piece of like, if you have those cheat meals built in there regularly, like at least once, if not twice a week, you won't feel like you're missing out because you still get to eat those favorite foods regularly. It's not like saying, oh, for the next like 6 months, I'm never going to touch a slice of pizza. It's like, no, I can literally eat pizza every week, but of course I'm going to structure the rest of my diet so that I can be able to do that. But that's kind of the mindset there. The other thing I love about what Gotham shared here is feeling way more in control of his body. That's been a big thing that I've found for me, is like, once I figured out how to lock in my nutrition, like I can now, like sitting here talking to you guys, I can control my body weight. Like I can decide right now, I'm sitting at around 180 to 185 pounds at about 15% body fat right now. I can decide if I want to be 170 and shredded or 200 and bulky. Like I can decide that right now, and I can make that happen. I know exactly what I need to eat to make either of those things happen. So it just is really nice to feel really in control of your body and know exactly what you need to do. And I think that's why like learning about and focusing on nutrition first is so important. So if you don't have your nutrition under control, that should be your first step. Next up, we're going to talk about, so what do we actually do now? Cool. Like now I understand like, okay, nutrition's important. I need to time my meals out. Of course, obviously get a lot of protein. You already know that probably if you're watching this video. And so now what do we actually do to get to that Greek god physique? So this is the part where I'm going to walk you through what to do about your nutrition, your training, and your mindset to get to a Greek god level physique. And I'm also going to give you some examples of clients and kind of where they were at and what we're doing with them to hopefully help you guys understand it a little better. Okay, so the Greek god physique blueprint has 3 phases: priming, ascension, and aesthetics. Priming phase is essentially our fat loss phase, right? We want to get the body leaner so that we can start building muscle onto it and also actually see that muscle gain, right? If you're not lean enough, you're not going to see the improvements in muscle because you're going to have fat covering it. So first step is we want to get lean. What this looks like is a pretty big caloric deficit. Training, we want to build a solid foundation, learn the correct form for the different exercises, and then mindset is really building consistency. Those are the biggest things in the priming phase. So examples of that, Jacob would be an example right here. His first 90 days together was where we dropped a bunch of fat. I'll talk about the ascension phase, which we entered after that. Tarun as well, like he is currently finishing out the priming phase, where again, we just drop a bunch of fat. We can now see his muscle definition starting to show in his back, his shoulders, his chest, and all that. So that's the priming phase. Next up is ascension phase. This is the phase where we focus on building muscle mass, maximizing muscle gains. We want to see how the genetics play out, right? Because we all have like different insertions on the way that our chest comes in, different insertions on the way that our shoulders break up from our arms, all that stuff. So we want to maximize our muscle gains. The way that we're going to do this is we need to fuel more with nutrition. So we're going to bump our calories up here. With training, we're going to focus on building on that foundation we already set, focus on increased energy by timing our foods properly throughout the day, being more intentional about that, and then also trying to hit PRs every single week. Hitting PRs is really going to help with building muscle mass. Again, as you get stronger, you inherently are building muscle. So that's one way that we can measure muscle growth. With mindset, we just got to stay consistent, trust the process. Especially in the ascension phase, this is where you really got to like trust the process, because priming phase is really exciting because you drop weight really fast and you're like, oh my gosh, like every single week, like the fat is going away over my stomach, like I'm feeling leaner. This is awesome. Ascension phase, you really have to trust the process because your physique won't change like a crazy amount, but it'll sort of be all happening at once and like underneath, you know, your body basically. And you won't really understand or realize what's happening until we get to the aesthetics phase. But you got to trust the process and really focus on hitting those PRs. That's going to maximize muscle growth so that by the time we get to the aesthetic phase, we're ready to look like a Greek god. So in this phase, what we're going to do is a slight deficit. So in the priming phase, we did a big deficit. Aesthetic phase, we're just going to do a slight deficit because at this point, if you complete the ascension phase, you're probably at or below 18% body fat. So we're going to do a slight deficit to get lean, shredded. We're going to start to see visible abs. That's the goal with nutrition here. Basically, once you're at 15% or lower, you're going to have visible abs all the time, which is, like I said earlier in the video, I'm at 15%. I usually sit between 12 to 15% body fat unless I'm getting ready for a show, which means I have visible abs year round, which is pretty cool. That's the goal with the aesthetic phase is once you reach this phase, you'll have visible abs year round. Training, we want to keep the base, all the things that we've been doing, and then intentionally bring up the aesthetic weak points. So at this point, you're going to be lean enough to see which points you need to work on, which are the weak things that you need to bring up. For example, with Jacob, so what we did was once he finished his initial 3 months, which was his priming phase, we then went into his ascension phase and we focused on bringing up his shoulders, back, and upper chest, which actually his chest development's insane. I don't have a picture here, but I'll have to show you guys that in a later video. But essentially, that's what we focus on. And then with the aesthetics phase, we drill it even more. If you're watching this, I would assume 9 out of 10 people need to train their medial delts more. So that's going to be an aesthetic point to train up, and then a few others depending on, you know, again, how your genetics play out. Other than that, with mindset, we just want to establish a habit standard to weather any storm so that whenever anything comes up, you can lean back on your fitness and your nutrition as sort of your backbone. So the dream here is that with dialing in training and nutrition, knowing exactly what to eat and how to train, you won't have to really even try to lose weight anymore. It'll just happen on autopilot, right? You'll be going through these phases, you'll be eating foods you love, and you'll have the body you want. Like that's the goal that we want to get to. So no more, I wrote this down, no more cold chicken salad for lunch. Unless you like cold chicken salad, then go for it. I wrote that down because in college, I used to eat chicken salad for lunch every single day, and I absolutely hated it, but I thought that's what I needed to do to get shredded. And looking back, I wish I knew what I knew now, because I would have had much better training sessions. I would have gotten bigger and leaner faster. And yeah, anyways, random story from my college days. Okay, there are a couple misconceptions I want to go over here. So, you know, something that I get so much is this idea of like, oh, like, you know, I'm not shredded just because I'm not working hard enough. Like, I got to eat chicken and broccoli every day, never go out to eat, and then I'll look like you, right, Zach? I've literally gotten questions like that. Well, actually, you don't. In fact, even when I was getting ready for my bodybuilding competition, I ate Chick-fil-A 3 times a week. I'm not making this up. Genuinely, like, ask any of my friends. I ate it 3 times a week because I love Chick-fil-A and I incorporated it into my diet. Jacob eats out 2 to 3 times a week, if not more, especially while he's traveling, and he's still gotten amazing results. I also want to show you guys another example, which is my client Josh, who lost 19 pounds in a month. Okay, 19 pounds in a month. Here's his sort of transformation. The screenshot I have here is of the barbecue plan. So what we did was we created a plan for him because he had a giant barbecue. He was having a bunch of people over. He was going to grill a ton of meat. And so what we did was we front loaded his protein, kept his fats and carbs low throughout the day, and then he got to eat literally whatever he wanted after the barbecue or for the barbecue. So, and then, you know, even with this barbecue, like, these are the results he's getting, right? He's down 19 pounds in a month, which is insane progress. So yeah, You might think you need to spend 2 hours a day in the gym to build muscle and lose fat. Again, you don't have to do that. Jacob spends 45 minutes in the gym 3 times a week. Personally, I spend an hour 4 times a week just because I love it. And, but that's really all you need, like to get shredded, to get lean, to build muscle. That's all you need. So what's next? Where do you go from here? I want you to imagine and picture in your mind what it'll be like to have a ton of energy, the body of your dreams, know exactly what you need to do to get it and keep it. From here, there are 2 paths you can take. Essentially, path 1 is go start lifting, try to eat more protein, hope that brings you results, which it might. Like, it'll get you started, right? Spend time and effort that might not even pay off, unfortunately. Basically, what I did all of college was spend a bunch of time and effort. It didn't really pay off that much. I didn't even really look like I worked out until I got my nutrition dialed in and had a better training program that actually brought up my weak points. So as I showed you throughout the training, starting lifting and more protein are only the tip of the iceberg. You really need a customized plan. If you don't have every single part of your fitness completely dialed in, unfortunately, your effort will flop and you won't make much progress, which I don't want to happen to you. So that leads me to path 2, where you can book in a call with me by clicking the link in the description below. I'll show you exactly how to plug our entire fitness system into your life so that you can have the body you want in the most time efficient way and with absolute certainty. So that's kind of how this works. So book in a call with me and we can go over all of that together, take sort of a diagnostic of where your life is currently at, where you want to go, and then I'll show you how to use these steps specifically in your life because, of course, we are all unique humans and we need a program that's customized to us. So hope this video was helpful. Book in that call below and I will see you on the other side. Peace.